Hi, welcome to Contractor Site Report. I'm Larry Stewart. Near the start of this next video, CEO Doug Kennedy of a leading East Tennessee general contractor, Johnson & Gallion, reveals the real reason his company traded its equipment to rent all of their equipment needs. He says, "We build things. We're not in the equipment rental business." In this video, he talks about some of the resources the company saved, and most importantly, how much productive value their operations gained from enlisting a rental pro to partner with. Listen too for Stowers Equipment's Chief Operating Officer detailing some of the services that make the CAT dealer an active partner in ensuring equipment quality at Johnson & Gallion project sites.
Feels good when I'm living on the edge. Watch me now.
Where's the value to Johnson & Gallion in having these rented machines on the project sites rather than your own machines?
Well, one of the issues in our business that you always have is if a piece of equipment breaks, goes down. Got people out trying to make a deadline for the day of getting something in place and keep things on schedule. And our equipment ranged between 6 months old and 10 years old. We had people who were trained to maintain that equipment. That was getting much more difficult. The newer the equipment, the more technology that was involved in the equipment, and the more that our mechanics, had difficulty in keeping up with all of that.
Sure.
Again, that wasn't the priority of what we do on a day-to-day basis. The big thing that we ran into also was if a piece of equipment was down, we might not have another one on the yard. So we either had to send our mechanics to the site, try and repair it in place, or worse, pick it up, bring it back to the yard if it was a major issue, and then rent a piece of equipment to send back out there. That could sometimes be a day-plus process of determining how that worked. We realized, again, we were going to have to put a lot of resources into a lot of different areas of the company in order to correct that and get it to where it needed to be.
Yeah.
We build things. We're contractors. We're not in the equipment rental business. And again, that went into that whole decision of making the move. What we have found is very pleasant and what we hoped for. The equipment we now get, we checked our records the other day. In almost a year that we've been doing this now, we've only had 2 pieces of equipment go down. That's phenomenal and says a lot of great things about the equipment we're getting and how Stowers is maintaining that equipment. That's eliminated that problem almost entirely. And the other things, though, is while we had 3 or 4 new skid steers or lifts at a time at the most, a group of older ones and some very old ones, we're getting all new equipment almost now. I mean, our people would tell you that it seems like everything we get is new.
When everybody's working and you're putting all the machines on the field, none of them are those old machines.
None of them are those old machines.
Yeah.
And again, to go that many months with only 2 downtimes on a piece of equipment. And again, you pick the phone up, you call your local Stowers guy, and he's got you another piece of equipment out there, usually that same afternoon. A few other great factors that have come out of that. The equipment is all technologically more advanced than what we had. Even our newer equipment, what we're getting now is further down the road from a technology standpoint.
And especially with lifts, there's a safety factor involved there,
Safety
right?
is a huge issue. Stowers has come out and trained all of our people on the different pieces that we're using. We had certified people on the equipment that required certifications, but they've helped us get all of our people updated and upgraded to handle the new equipment. Funny thing is, some of our older guys, and we have several people who've been with the company 40 plus years, those guys were all going, I don't know, these new skid steers have got joysticks on them, and I just don't think I can ever do that. They now are the first to say, well, there was nothing to that transition.
Yeah.
I thought it would be difficult, and it was very simple. So we're getting technology-driven, up-to-date, safer equipment by making this change, and that's been something we hoped for, but it's been an added value to this whole process.
Sure. Are there significant differences in how a lot of these machines are equipped?
We had no cabs in our skid steers or any of our equipment except two pieces. I'm afraid now we may be spoiling our people just a little bit. They're in air conditioning cabs in the summer and heated cabs in the winter. So
probably helps you keep good people.
No, it does. It obviously does. We have made sure that our employees are long-term employees. So it's pretty common that every year we have a 40-plus year employee retire. And we just are bringing up another generation of those right behind that group. Turnover hadn't been a big issue, but contentment is a big thing.
Right.
And we are now able to help our people be in a better condition than they were before.
We talked with Ed Rotman, Chief Operating Officer at Stowers Machinery, about how they adapted to working with a general contractor and how the equipment dealer's core skills improved Johnson & Gallion's equipment value.
We do business and call on a lot of Johnson & Gallion subcontractors and a lot of heavy civil, dirt movers, and mining customers. So we knew that this was a new business concept with them owning equipment and then really wanting to sell the equipment, get out of the equipment ownership, and focus primarily on renting. So it was a very interesting phone call, and we knew that we had to kind of come up with a solution for this new business concept that Johnson & Gallion wanted to do, because that's not our typical phone call saying, hey, we want to get out of equipment ownership, and we want to start renting. So we knew that it was going to be a new message.
So you were disposing of their equipment as well. They were handing stuff over to you.
Correct, exactly. So that was another way where we knew we were going to be a good partner for Johnson & Gallion. As a general contractor, most of the equipment is an overhead expense. It's not going to be revenue generating equipment. One of the big issues they had was utilizing their fleet in an efficient, productive manner. So they would have jobs where they would have equipment sitting that they owned that is not a good use of their capital. So being able to really monitor their equipment from a rental perspective, if they have a piece of equipment on one job site and they needed a similar piece of equipment, it's our responsibility to say, you have 3 skid steers on rent right now. Do you want us to try to pull one from one of those other locations, or is that one being used, and do you need for us to drop another one off of their site? Because we can provide all that information to them, how they are utilizing the fleet. Because at the end of the day, it's an expense. That was one of their pain points, was the fact that they don't feel like they were managing it effectively. So they do need to lean on us to be their partner and to make sure what they have on rent is being utilized in an effective, kind of productive manner.
And Doug mentioned that, that they really needed somebody to do that managing for them. So you're not just flooding their sites with machines, but you're making sure that those machines are utilized.
So we do have a system called VisionLink, which can monitor the utilization and the hours they're putting on their equipment, and we can have those discussions with them, at the end of the month about how they feel like, what kind of value that they're getting from our rental equipment.
You've also got to look at transportation costs too, I'm assuming, because a lot of these machines are going to be, used this week and maybe not next week, but back the week after that.
Correct.
How are you managing the transportation of machines in and out to keep that cost under control?
And so really it's communication. So again, what they expect from that local point of contact and that high level of service is a lot of communication. Kirk Johnson, Stowers Machinery sales representative, should be out visiting every job site every week or every other week, touching base with the project managers, and it just comes with planning. Making sure that we're keeping the lines of communication open, making sure that, trying to minimize the amount where they call us and say, hey, we have this issue, we need a piece of equipment here this afternoon. As long as they give us 24 hours a day's notice, we have the fleet and we have the equipment to where we can take care of that request without a problem. So a little bit of proactive planning, making sure that we're communicating on a regular basis, and then just providing that Stowers Machinery kind of full service point of contact.